Yes, hello everyone, Fáilte Rash, Cúilín Media. Welcome back to another weekend review show. What a weekend of GA action. Aaron, quite a good weekend for the Dubs here, wasn't it? The Dublin jersey on. And finally we see a massive win on the road this season. Great win against Roscommon. Liam, yourself, awfully not as bad against Limerick. A good performance, all things being considered. How are you keeping, man? I'll go to you first, and then I'll go to Aaron's beaming, smiling face after Dublin's win today.
Well, I suppose my heart 100 mile an hour after Arsenal-Chelsea, so at least I had something to smile about today. But it's going to be a long 3 months, I can tell you that. But no, in terms of the GAA, look, Tyrone last night was a hell of a lot better than what Derry was last weekend. Despite the second half not being exactly brilliant from our perspective, we put a bit of a respectable scoreline on it. And played relatively well in the first half up in Dungannon. So I think we can take some positives from the game, but obviously, look, relegation. Now, given the results of the weekend, Cavan and Kildare aren't exactly safe themselves, so we might still have a chance, amazingly. I don't know how, but we might still have a chance. But it's a very difficult campaign it's been for us. In terms of the hurling, look, we've been essentially relegated back to Division 1B, but I'm very proud of the lads. You know, like going up against a Limerick team that when I saw that team the other day, I was debating whether to go in or not. But no, look, the lads put up a great fight. And listen, considering the players we've out and the teams we've played against and everything like that, they can hold their heads up high after this league campaign. And look, whatever happens against Cork in a few weeks happens, and it's all about building towards Dublin on the 18th of April. But overall, look, could have been worse.
Aaron, we're much happier today than we were last weekend, I think it's fair to say.
Absolutely, yeah. A great weekend all round. Hurlers winning, footballers winning. I was out last night as well, so a little bit hungover today, I won't lie. So seeing the Dubs actually just go and play great football, and I was nearly sitting down being like, oh, this is going to be a tough watch. But no, it was actually brilliant. And like the football we played, the game looked like it was done and dusted after like 15 minutes. It was kind of bizarre, to be honest with you. You're kind of thinking, although Roscommon have had a fair few comebacks themselves this season, I was like, we're 16, 17 points up here. I think we should be okay. Seeing that, and obviously haven't seen the hurlers. Obviously, that game wasn't on TV, but seeing the result on Scorpio, so obviously a big win there. Happy all round.
Just the way that the new rules are these days, like I still was just a bit like, oh, I don't know. Like if Roscommon bang over a few 2-pointers here, it could be getting ropey, like especially with Diarmuid Murtagh hovering around the arc. Grand Admiral Dane here saying, as a Meath fan, I'm physically ill seeing Dublin do well, but sure, I suppose we'll deal, which is in the Leinster Championship. And guys, anybody who is watching the show, we've a good, healthy number watching, so I appreciate you all. We appreciate you all tuning in for this weekend review show, and get involved in the comments. Let us know what your highlights of the weekend were, any questions that you have for us, anything like that, and we will get around to them. And Peter here, who is a regular on the show, great to have you with us again, Peter. He is talking about one of the main stories of the weekend, and it is important that we do touch on it. He says, hey lads, what a weekend of action and drama on and off the pitch. Can we start with the protesters storming Congress? At least one Croke Park security officer in hospital and apparently 2 others injured. This is Peter, was in Newbridge Saturday evening. I was in the stand and saw a number of protesters make their way to the RTE corner. Apparently some of the stewards were struck, and later that evening there were reports going around Newbridge that Joanne and Peter, this obviously who were working for RTE, were jostled/heckled. And then Peter also goes on to say there is no issues with peaceful protests, but assaulting people is never justified. I know the lads who steward in St. Conleth's, most are older lads. Yeah, it's a very, very murky situation. And Peter here saying, do you reckon the whole Allianz debate should have been brought to table at Congress and voted on? This ethics committee? Yeah, they passed it off to the ethics committee. There's no question about, for anybody who isn't entirely familiar, but if you've been watching the GA, to be honest, I don't know how you would have missed this story. It was such a big story. But the GA's Congress was halted after protesters made their way into Croke Park. A number of protesters made their way then up to the top table and held a banner behind several officials, including the current Uachtaráin Cumann Lucas Jarlath Burns. And they were chanting things like Allianz Amok, and this is in protest to the GAA's continued sponsorship links to Allianz. So a meeting of the GAA's on Cuiste Bonus Diacta took place where it heard a report from the Ethics and Integrity Commission, EIC, on the issue, and it was ultimately decided to accept the recommendation of the EIC, and that was to keep the contract with Allianz basically as the sponsor. So Allianz basically, through its German parent company, was among a list of companies listed in a report by the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Occupied Palestinian Territories, Francesca Albanese. So that was the reason that people were protesting, and there is no doubt about it. The GAA cannot ignore them. And Peter, this is kind of our stance on it, and we're going to keep an eye on it and make sure that we cover it as more stuff comes out. But when Peter is saying there about the whole Allianz debate, should it be something that the Congress is voting on? When you see that many people in the GAA upset by the GAA's links to Allianz and what the GAA should stand for me, it should be a democratic thing that the GAA are like, that it should be voted on Congress, that the ethics committee shouldn't make the decision for the GAA. The GAA, that's, in my opinion, an important decision that needs to be a kind of democratic vote. But there's no question about when you see people like Peter Canavan, who I thought spoke really, really well about the issue. I feel for Jarlath as well, because he doesn't have as much power as people think he does. He can't just snap his fingers and make things happen. It does have to go through the wheels of the system. But yeah, we'll keep up to date with this story. I thought Peter spoke very well. I thought Joanne Cantwell spoke very well as well. It is a very sensitive issue, but the protesters, I do respect it. They made their voices heard. This is an important subject for the GAA. Lads, do either of you want to comment before we move on, or will we move into the games?
No, I think everything you've said there is fairly accurate and, very well said. And yeah, look, as the story develops more, because I'm sure it will, over the next 3, 4, 5 days, possibly even the next few weeks, there'll be a lot more to debate about it. But yeah, very interesting developments over the weekend anyway.
Yeah, well, we're going to get, so Grant Almaden here saying, for all our faults, Cantwell did speak well about it, in fairness. She did, because on top of that, it's a complicated situation in that Allianz are sponsoring the League Sunday show that they're on while they're talking about it and everything like that. So it's one of those where, yeah, it is just a sensitive one. And yeah, but we did want to talk about it and we did want to cover it, but we also want to keep an eye on it and cover it if more developments happen. If the GAA decide to bring it to Congress, we want to cover that as well. So you don't want to give anything final on it because it is a developing story. But yeah, fair play to everyone making their voice heard about this issue. We're going to move on then to the games, and we're going to start off, Aaron, with the game that put a smile on my face and your face and every Dubs face in the country, and probably put a frown on everyone else's face in Ireland. Dublin going away to Roscommon and beating them in an incredible performance, 121-2-7 in Dr. Hyde Park. Dublin, with their backs against the wall, come out swinging and get a very, very impressive win over Roscommon in the Hyde. It still remains 2002 was the last time the Roscommon got a competitive victory over the Dubs. Aaron, this is exactly what we needed.
100% it is, yeah. It's a massive, massive win from a Dublin perspective. Like, I mean, coming into this game, I think we all had Roscommon as favourites, given the way that they were playing, the numbers they were putting up, how much Dublin were struggling as well. So you could never have imagined Dublin just rock up there and win the game before it nearly even felt like it started. But yeah, by far, Dublin's best performance in more ways than one. Like, everything that we weren't doing up until this game, we did do. 2 pointers. We scored 5 2-pointers in the opening 25 minutes, all from different players as well. Paddy Small, Owen Kennedy, Noel Scully, all chipping away in terms of 2-pointers. Luke Brecknock obviously gets a goal as well. And we just played a bit like Dublin in their pomp, and I think Roscommon were even taken a bit aback by it, to be honest with you, because obviously there has been a lot of hype around Roscommon in the past kind of week or so, and there's been a lot of criticism towards Dublin. So I think maybe the Roscommon players a little bit, and even the fans, you could kind of feel it from watching on TV. You could nearly hear it in the atmosphere, where I think a lot of people were stunned by just how good Dublin were in the opening half. Probably nearly could have scored more as well. Like, there was a few chances we missed as well, and a few moments that went beyond us. But yeah, overall a very, very good performance. Like Noel Scully, I think that was his best performance in a Dublin jersey in a long time. Like he was absolutely brilliant. He scored 4 points, but it was vintage Noel Scully from the Jim Gavin era, where it was linking everything together, the conductor, but also chipping away with a couple of points here and there when he needed to. Kieran Kilkenny was absolutely immense as well. Killian McGuinness was brilliant. And yeah, the way we controlled it as well. Like there were some worries when Roscommon got the second goal from Dylan Rowan, I think it was. You're kind of thinking, right, Roscommon are, I think, 12 behind now. You know if Roscommon get a bit of momentum and the fans get up for it, and the fact that Dublin obviously have been quite vulnerable so far this season, you were a little bit concerned and a little bit worried. But to be fair to Dublin, they managed the game absolutely brilliantly, controlled the tempo, and we won. And look, it gives us a massive chance now at survival.
Absolutely. So Peter here saying fair play for flagging that, lads. Then we have comments in about the games. So Irish Footy Vlog saying wasn't expecting that from Dublin, fair play to them. Gavin here saying absolutely embarrassing by Roscommon. Midfield terrible as usual, kickouts terrible. Why Brady didn't play, ridiculous. Insane. The St. Bridget's players started instead of coming off the bench. Aaron, direct question for you. Do you think Dublin will get relegated now or stay up?
I think we'll actually be all right, to be honest with you. I think we will stay up. We probably only need one more win. Like Armagh's such an unusual one, given the fact that they've lost 4 games in a row and haven't scored a goal. Funnily enough, I could probably see Armagh beating us, but I could actually see us beating Galway on the final day. And I actually think Galway might be the ones that potentially go down.
Yeah, even after the draw with Donegal.
Yeah, although now that I think they play Monaghan though, don't they? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm thinking about that win that Galway got over Armagh, and I'm thinking like that could be crucial. Yeah. Like that could be the be all and end all now at the end. Alan Maloney saying hopefully this win will kickstart Dublin into doing something. Gavin saying loser of Armagh, Dublin for me. Sean saying after today, I think Armagh cooked. Peter saying Monaghan gone. Tom here saying the look of relief on you two lads. Good win for the Dubs, but a lot of work to do. Yeah, I still think like it's one win. It's not like all of a sudden we're prime 2019 5 in a row chasing Dublin, but we have moved in the right direction in terms of this win, and it's important that we got back on the board and got the feel-good factor back. Jer saying Clare achieved a clean sweep in Hurling, Camogie, Gaelic Football and LGFA. No hard feelings about Aaron being the only one to back Clare to beat Limerick in the Gaelic Football. Yeah, we're going to come to that one later as well. And a funny comment here from Maga Olan Wood. He said Dublin just sent Armagh down. Well, we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, for me, look, as a Dublin fan, absolutely delighted with this win. Not only because our backs were against the wall and we came out swinging, but because we showed a fantastic ability to kick the 2-pointers. Like, we hadn't seen it to that level really in any game we hadn't really seen that in any game so far this season. And so far since they brought in the new rules, we hadn't looked as comfortable kicking the 2-pointers as Donegal have and other counties. But Scully kicked a lovely one. Sean Bugler kicked a lovely one. Paddy Small got a lovely one. Like, all of a sudden you're thinking, you know what, we've got people who can kick these. And I do believe it's going to be a little bit of a step back. And when you analyze it over the years, whenever successful dynasties come to an end in sport, it actually tends to be followed up by a longer barren period than you would expect. Like, you go back to Kerry in the 1970s and the 1980s, like, Kerry did the 4 in a row, then won another 3 in a row in the 80s. And when that golden crop left, Kerry didn't win another All-Ireland until 1997. Like, and after 1986 being the last one, Kilkenny Hurling dominated the 2000s and the 2010s under Brian Cody. Then after 2015, it's 2026 and they still haven't won one. I wouldn't be surprised if we go a similar route where we don't win one for a while. I hope not. But, like, it's just... Even the Cork LGFA team that won 11 All-Irelands in 12 years, once they finally lost their grip in 2017, they haven't got it back since. Like, it's a common occurrence that once a dynasty goes, it tends to be a long way to fall. But we've got a long way to go to get back to where we were, even though we've got a great win there. Sean Sigri said Roscommon were fit starting the league, but now that the big teams are getting in shape, they will look ordinary. Dublin football is in some state that ye are celebrating it. Well, we can celebrate it because it might save us going down. So I'll take that win right there. I don't care what team we beat. If we beat any team, if it keeps us up in Division 1, I'll celebrate it. Aaron here saying, yeah, winning in everything this weekend. Brilliant from the banner. Will you still keep backing our opponents, to be fair? You literally back every team we play, especially in football, to beat us. I would disagree.
Not me though, Aaron, not me.
Yeah, I would disagree. Aaron backed Clare. And I backed Clare to win Division 1B in the hurling.
I don't remember who I predicted Limerick Clare, so I'm going to stay safe.
Some performance from the footballers. Yeah, Aaron is the only one who believes in the banner. But they see he didn't get it completely wrong, Aaron. But yeah, we'll get to that game later. But yeah, the rounding up on that game, delighted with the progress that Dublin showed. Look, we need to stay up in Division 1. Like, we want to be dining at the top table, and this win could go a long way in doing that. But this defeat for Armagh could go a long way in sending them down. They lose to Mayo in McHale Park, 217 to 22 points. Liam, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I think that comment is probably how the comment earlier about the loser of Armagh Dublin is kind of how I'm feeling at the moment as well. I feel like that would be the absolute biggest game of the season in terms of who stays up and who goes down. Yeah, look, a tough defeat for Armagh to take again. Again, I want to say thanks to Cúilín, the football genius, our friend, who gave his analysis afterwards, and he was saying himself that he didn't think Armagh played particularly bad today, probably better than they did against both Roscommon and Donegal, but still not fully kind of at the races. I mean, there was one stage they were 114 to 9 points down. They were 114 to 7 points down after 43 minutes. Now look, Mayo have been doing exceptionally well this season. And again, I mean, first of all, Kobe McDonald coming off the bench and getting 2 points again. And I saw the reaction that he got when he came off the bench as well from the supporters. And it's great to see, people appreciating this young footballer. And isn't it great that we have a footballer of this magnitude, of this talent coming through the ranks at the moment? Even if we do lose him to Australia, I think we just got to appreciate him for the moment and appreciate him every time he comes on to the pitch. He's looking exceptionally good for them. But yeah, another positive performance from them. Jordan Flynn is kicking 2-pointers now, once again, this weekend as well. He got 1-2 in the end. Ryan O'Donoghue got 3 points. Keane McHale, who is another player I'm very, very impressed with, finishing with 1-3 as well. So yeah, just fantastic win for Mayo. Conor Loftus getting an arc as well from centre back. So even though he had to go off early enough, but yeah, look, brilliant win for Mayo. To have started like at the start of this league campaign, like, I mean, geez, I predicted Mayo to go down, but to have turned around and to have come into the league campaign and gotten wins over the likes of Dublin, Armagh, and Galway, I mean, that's really, really impressive going from them. And obviously Monaghan last weekend as well, putting up 230 past them. Like, what we think about Monaghan not being up to the races this year, it's still unbelievable from Mayo. And yeah, Andy Moran is doing a great job with them at the moment. Look, it could all, we know with Mayo, this could turn fairly quickly if things don't go their way necessarily over the next couple of weeks. But it's a lot of positives for them at the moment. They're playing some good football and they're looking primed and ready. Whatever about the league, they're looking primed and ready for the Connacht Championship. And we need a very competitive Connacht Championship. And I feel, to a degree, how some people say, like, oh, you need a certain team to still be in a championship, or you need a certain player from a certain sport to be in a championship or something like that to keep it entertaining and keep people in there. I feel like Mayo are sort of like that, because people love the chaos. People love the chaos of Mayo hurling. So yeah,
if I picked an All-Ireland final, I'd have Mayo versus Armagh. Like that would be my All-Ireland final. Just in terms of like those two counties, in terms of games that I've watched, have always given me like heart attacks. And like usually when I'm watching them, I don't care who wins. Like, I don't have a favorite. Like, I went to the All-Ireland because at the time I was working in Croke Park, so I went to the All-Ireland final in 2024, and I didn't have a preference between Armagh and Galway as to who won. But the last few minutes, my heart was in my mouth. Like, I was like, I can't deal with this, and I don't have a horse in the race. I don't know how people are. Yeah, I don't know how people like people and Mayo as well. Like, even from the Dublin side, Aaron, how many finals did we watch between Dublin and Mayo? And I was always more confident that Dublin would find a way to win in those games. I think when Lee Keegan scored the goal in 2017, I think that was the main moment when I was like, shit. Like I thought when that went in, I thought we were done. But yeah, who knows? We have a lot of comments coming in about this game. Peter saying Mayo are the highest scoring team in Division 1 after 5 games. Andy Moran doing very, very well there. Grand Admiral Dane saying still Armagh score very high numbers. Mayo doing very good. Wouldn't be surprised if they go deep into the championship brackets, but not enough to win the All-Ireland, obviously. And then says Mayo will never win, Sam, ever again. So firing shots at Mayo. Grand Admiral Dane. Aaron here saying great to listen to you though. Great knowledge across all grades, men and women. Did awfully play well against Limerick Lane. Thanks a million, Aaron. We do try to keep covered across all the topics, and we will be covering all codes and all divisions on this episode. But yeah, we are going to Gavin here saying Mayo look like winning the league, unfortunately. Tom saying, Aaron, I think you're sneaking in a pint behind that black screen. Who knows?
I wish, Tom. I wish.
And we're getting a lot of comments asking about Matthew as well. For anybody who's confused as to why we don't have a full house tonight, Matthew was up in Derry to watch that game against Cork, and yeah, he is making his way back, I believe. I could be wrong. I think maybe he might be staying up with his family or something up in Derry, or making his way back. I'm not sure. But yeah, either way, he's not around for the pod tonight. And we knew that in advance. But yeah, we'll get to that game later. But anyway, great win for Mayo. And again, their trajectory continues on the up. For Armagh, like I felt like I was a bit crazy predicting them to go down, but the longer it goes on, like it's looking more and more likely like they could slip in. Aaron, if you had to call it, do you think they could go down, or do you still think they'll save themselves?
I think, I know a couple of minutes ago I said Galway would go down, but I said that and then literally immediately after realised that they're playing Monaghan. So Galway probably win that game and finish on 6. I think Dublin finish on 6 as well. And then you're looking at Armagh thinking, well, they have to win both games, but one of their games I think is against Kerry. And that's going to be very difficult. So I think, to be honest with you, I think Armagh probably will go down with just how it's kind of panning up and how it's shaping up. Like, even if they beat Dublin, still think there's a chance that Dublin go and beat Galway on the final day. So yeah, I think at this stage it is looking like Armagh might go down. It's a very unusual one with Armagh. Like, they've 4 games in a row now where they haven't scored a goal, and obviously we haven't seen the highlights of this game, so we'll have to wait until League Sunday a little bit later to kind of see a little bit more about it. But it is very unusual. Like, on the first game, they were outstanding. The second game, even though they lost to Galway, I thought they still played very well. And yeah, it's just like against Donegal, they had good moments. Like, it's been very unusual, because I don't think, obviously we'll wait and see the performance later, but I don't think they played that badly, to be honest with you. But yeah, here they are with 2 points, and if you're not taking, it's nearly like they got punished. They turned their nose up the goals in that game versus Galway, and it's like karma's come back to get them ever since, because they can't seem to find any goals now.
Well, I thought that interview with Kieran McGeeney with Keelan Sexton, I thought that was very good. I don't know if you saw that on Smaller Fish GA pod. I mean, like, that when Parkinson put it in his tweet, like, that certain people are saying that we don't go for goals. Like, that's absolutely correct to that. Parkinson, as far as I'm concerned, like, I swear I saw a clip of him saying that our man need to score more goals, and he's one of the biggest voices in the GAA. Like, so Kieran McGeeney obviously would have saw it. Like, and
100%.
Yeah, it was funny. And McGeeney's not, and he's an intimidating man. Like, so like if I felt like he was directing a comment towards me, I'd be nervous as hell interviewing him. Like, so fair play for Keelan for holding his nerve. Connor Cahill here. Like, we need someone back in Mayo in the comments, because right now Mayo are getting shots fired at them even though they've won. Connor saying Mayo remind me of a hockey team in the NHL. They're called the San Jose Sharks. Basically, their success is minuscule, but they overachieve almost every single season, only to fall at the last hurdle.
Sounds like Arsenal as well.
Like, oh no,
we both said it. It's okay. We both said
it. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next game. Aaron, I'm going to throw this one over to you. Donegal's 100% record is gone, but their unbeaten record still stays. They split the spoils even with Galway in Ballyshannon. Donegal 117, Galway 20 points. This one was live on TG Cahir. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was in the end, I think, a great point for Donegal to fight back in the way that they did, going down to 14 men. You had the Michael Langan black card at the end of the first half, which I think, to be honest, probably could have been a red as well. If it was a very, very heavy challenge. We've definitely seen them given as a red. But he comes back, and then a couple of minutes later, Stephen McManaman gets sent off at the start of the second half. So but fair play to Donegal. They battled back, they fought back. They didn't have a lot of their best players starting, so they didn't have Oisín Gallen. There was no Finbar Rorty came off the bench. Michael Murphy came off the bench. But yeah, Conor O'Donnell, like he's really becoming the real star of the show for this Donegal team. 1-2. He probably doesn't get mentioned maybe in the same breath as a player like Oisín Gallen or Michael Murphy and so on. He's maybe not as good on the eye, if that makes sense. But like in terms of efficiency, in terms of scoring, like he's racking up big numbers, goals, assists, and he's arguably been Donegal's most influential player over the last 12 months.
I'm trying to. He's kind of like similar to Rob Finnerty with Galway. They're like the plaudits always go to Comer and Walsh whenever they have their full team, but Finnerty usually outscores them. Like,
I think it's like. Because with Shane Walsh, for example, he's very skillful. A lot of his points are brilliant on the eye. If you made a highlight reel for Shane Walsh, he'd look like the greatest footballer of all time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Finnerty keeps it simple, just pops it out. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of similar a little bit with Conor O'Donnell. And it's probably
you're saying about highlight reel as well. Like James Carr is another one of them. If you made a highlight reel with James Carr, I'm like, any goal I've seen that fella score, I'm always like, Jesus Christ, what a goal! Like he never scores a normal score. Daniel Flynn was kind of like that as well.
That like Daniel Flynn, like, to be fair, like some of his points and goals.
Connolly as well.
But Connolly
was a baller though.
Connolly was the best player in Ireland.
No, I just mean like when people see his scores. If you're say someone who's only been born this year, and in 5 years' time or 6 years' time you see his scores, you'll just be like, how the hell has he done that? Like, it's he's that type of player.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. Like, do you think that it will bother Donegal at all to lose that, just for the pure, ability to be like, we went 7 for 7 in Division 1? That's gone now. I don't think so. No, I think, I would agree. I don't think it will bother them too much, but if we're being honest, Galway, will they stay up? We're talking about that final day, that game against Dublin. I would like to think that we won't be in a dangerous position when it comes to that game. Hopefully we can pick something up in the meantime. If we don't pick up something against Armagh, we're asking for trouble. But if Peter here saying Jimmy wanted 7 for 7, Jimmy's fuming. Well, look, Jimmy and Pádraig Joyce are good friends as well. So, like, maybe if they're going to lose a point, they might be to each other. But, all in all, I don't know if there's much to discuss from this game. A good point for Galway on the road. Donegal lose their 100% record, but they still look good in terms of the squad depth and everything like that. And Aaron, you were mentioning Conor O'Donnell. Really, really solid. Langan's black card, I think, was kind of silly, and then obviously McManaman getting sent off was important as well, and how the game shaped up. But for Galway to go away and to get something in Ballyshannon, I think Pádraig Joyce would have snapped your hand off for that at the beginning. And but I still think Donegal on a flat track straight to a league final. Liam, I'll show you the final game in Division 1 then, and this one, the worrying trend for Monaghan continues. I mean, like, this scoreline speaks volumes. 118 to 7 points in Fitzgerald Stadium. Not just from the fact that they weren't competitive in this game, but to only score 7 points in 70 minutes with the new rules. Like, I know I have ordinary maths, but that's a point every 10 minutes. Like, it's not good enough, really.
No, it's disappointing, to be honest with you. It's like they only got 3 points in the second half, which is just, I feel sorry for them. Like, they're just being fed to the wolves or the dogs at this point. Like, it's not a nice situation for them to be in. I think they got all 7 points.
What happened though? Because they are good enough. They won Division 2. Like, what's going on?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I predict them to finish 4th in the league, and I was saying that off a lot of that off the back of last season, because I thought they were fierce unlucky not to even reach an All-Ireland semi-final, maybe to get over Donegal in the Ulster quarterfinal last year. And again, like you said, I was so impressed with them how they finished Division 2 last year, because they didn't exactly start Division 2 like a house on fire last year, like Roscommon did, but they finished it so well. And you have the Scottstown players as well. You're thinking, do you know what? Monaghan might, be a bit of an underdog this year. And look, maybe they can turn around the Ulster Championship. Maybe, you never know. But they're just not giving me that sort of hope at the moment. And like the score was 5-4 at halftime, and I had to make sure that wasn't a typo on Score Bio when I was checking it, to be honest with you. Like it's not exactly a game that you'd be reminiscing about in 5, 10, 15 years' time. And let's not forget as well, Kerry didn't have Mr. David himself. They didn't have the big man there today. Now they had his brother, and they had Sean O'Shea and Dylan Gainey, etc. And I mean, Jesus, they're not exactly the worst. Well, actually, now that I say that, David Clifford came off the bench and scored 1-3, so that makes sense. But like he wasn't starting, and Monaghan couldn't take full advantage of that. So yeah, look, Monaghan have just been dreadful all season, really, and look, it's a bad result for them. For Kerry, it's just get the game done. Yeah, thanks, Grant. Look, it's for Kerry, it's business done. Move on to the next one. They probably won't have an easier game to play this season, I'd imagine, than that. But look, Monaghan, they're down. It's as simple as that. They're going to Division 2 next season. And for Kerry, look, take the win and move on, but they won't learn a lot from this game.
Yeah, look, I think this one was always going to be a difficult day for Monaghan, the way that their form was. Kerry away from home was never going to be easy, and that's how it turned out to be. But I'd be more worried about the scoring. For example, like teams are still conceding a lot, but they're putting up big numbers and they're almost outscoring teams. Like Mayo are conceding a fair bit, but they're just scoring more than other teams in this league campaign. Your forwards need to be firing. Irish Footy Vlog saying, as a county, Monaghan have punched above their weight for years. There's no question about that. They absolutely have. But we're more looking at this from the point of view of their trajectory last year was on the up. Like, I get that the core of their team, like players like McManus have retired and everything like that, but McManus was gone when they won Division 2 last year.
Yeah.
And Darren Hughes was injured, and a lot of key, like Kieran Hughes, had stepped away. So those players were already gone, and their trajectory was already on the up. And all of a sudden, it really looks like they are flying backwards. And right now, the form that they're in, I wouldn't back them to get out of Division 2 next year if something doesn't change. Because you look who's going to be down there with them. Tyrone are going to be down there because I think the boat's gone for them on promotion now. And whoever goes down from Division 1 with them, whether that's Dublin, Armagh, Galway, and then on top of that, you'll have one of Meath, Cork and Derry also in there. Like, it's going to be an absolute shark tank. So, like, who knows? Before we wrap up on Division 1, though, we will say Mikey here saying Monaghan were the only standout team in Division 2 last year. The drop-off is bleak. And Peter saying, I think Bannigan needs to go. Dennis saying, slow start in scoring in the first half by Kerry. And Dermot saying, I want an All-Ireland final, Mayo versus Armagh this year. I think if Dublin get knocked out, I'm all in on that. Dermot also saying this before we wrap up Division 1, we've a couple of comments in here about the Mayo Armagh game. Armagh averaging 24 points a game, miss about 5 goal chances and still lose by a point. Who scored much less, but who can get goals? Can anyone lend Armagh a goal scorer? Need Rian O'Neill back. And then Jordan Kearns, hello there, Jordan Kearns from Mayo here in Castlebar. Great win, Mayo versus Armagh, and staying in Division 1, which is excellent. Andy Moore is excellent, and there's an All-Ireland in that Mayo team. I think one more thing, if they can get Oisin Mullen back. I think if they add Oisin Mullen back in over the next couple of years, I think they definitely could be one of the front runners. And Sean saying Derry are dark horses for Sam, in my opinion. And that's the game we're going to go to next. We're moving down to Division 2's round 5. I'm going to start off with the clash of Derry and Cork in Celtic Park. Derry 131, Cork 14 points. Cork's perfect start to Division 2 comes to a screeching halt in Celtic Park. Derry put in an absolute exhibition and ran out 20-point winners. And when you look at the score sheets, obviously big shout out to Matthew for providing all the stats on this game. But you've got Shane McGuigan there with 9 points, including a 2-pointer. You've got Lachlan Murray with 1-4, Paul Cassidy with 4 points, Niall Lachlan with 4 points, and a plethora of scorers, like well spread across the field. And on top of that, they kept Stephen Sherlock to 6 points in terms of like two two 2-pointers, so 4 scores that he got on the board, and they marshaled quite well. Obviously, Ian Maguire was a massive loss. He was out for this game. But Matthew's comment in himself, let me just bring it up. Says, bad day at the office today. Injuries caught up with the lads. Maguire and Tommy Walsh, massive losses. Hopefully Tyrone do us a favour versus Meath. There's no question, though, Aaron, it's a setback.
It absolutely is, yeah. But I think you have to give massive praise to Derry, though, as well. Like, to beat Cork, like, as we've said, Cork have been a very good side so far this season. They've started the league brilliantly, 4 wins from 4. Definitely no slouches, like, do you know what I mean? And haven't beaten Meath last week. So to go and actually beat them by 20 points it's incredible. Like, they've scored a combined tally of 356 in their last 2 games, which is just a mental kind of tally to put up. I know with the new rules where we're used to teams scoring high numbers, but like it's incredible, really. And I think the big thing with Derry, from what I've seen, obviously, again, we'll catch the highlights a little bit later, but like last season, they did have big performers in the usual kind of big players like Brendan Rodgers and Shane McGuigan, but it was the other kind of fringe players, or, you know, other players who weren't really like producing as much. Like, you didn't hear much of Lachlan Murray, Noel Lachlan, these lads last season, but they're all stepping up big time. Like, Lachlan Murray scored 1-4, Paul Cassidy with 4 points, Noel Toner. All 6 starting forwards all got on the score sheet. So absolutely huge there from a Derry perspective. Look, the midfield, obviously not having Ian Maguire, I'd imagine that was a big impact. But yeah, a bit of a mad game, because even looking at it on score, like, Cork scored 9 points inside the opening 20 minutes, and then they only scored 5 after that. They only scored 4 in the second half. So a little bit unusual from a Cork perspective. Definitely a setback. I think the problem with Cork now as well, when you actually look at the score difference of the 3 teams, like Derry are on plus 46, Cork are actually on -7 now. So when it comes to score difference, that could be a potential issue if 3 teams are all on the same points, because I think Cork could potentially miss out because of that. But I think for Cork, the big thing now is Kildare next at home. We'll get on to Kildare. Like, they're in free fall at the moment. Like, Cork need to beat them, but I think Cork also need to put a bit of a big number on them to give themselves the best chance.
Absolutely. Like, we're going to move on to that game, because, to be honest, Liam, Division 2 had 4 relatively comfortable victories. Like, there wasn't really much close games going on in Division 2, and this one again fits into that category. I actually tipped Kildare to give Meath problems, because I thought local rivals, if Kildare have an opportunity to kick Meath's promotion campaign out of the window, they might do it. But no problems for Meath. 121 to 10 points in St. Conleth's Park. Peter, you were there, you were saying in the comments, so if you could get your opinions in on this game, we'd really love to hear it. But Liam, what did you make of this?
Yeah, Meath looked big, strong, commanding, everything you want from a team that has aspirations to not just get promoted to Division 1, but to make progress on what they did last year in reaching an All-Ireland semi-final and trying to win a Leinster title. I have to say, if there's one footballer I just absolutely love watching at the moment, it's Jordan Morris. Some of the scores that he kicked, there was one particular one he kicked in the second half, and it was David Clifford, like the way he just leans the ball back onto his foot, and the way Clifford kind of just stamps his right foot and kicks it over without much of a pushback, or like the way he like lifts his left leg up. Do you know what I'm kind of trying to say? That the way he kicks it, it was just so natural, and I really enjoyed watching him play. But I enjoyed the movement and the tackling and everything from Meath, to be honest with you. Like, they looked really, really solid. Jack O'Connor got 4 points. Jack Flynn, although he only got the 1 point this week, he was still just a towering figure in the middle of the park, and he's going to be a player that other teams are going to have a game plan for as the season progresses. And yeah, like, Meath are coming together really, really nicely at the moment. They're a team that are moving quite well. They haven't let the defeat to Cork last weekend tamper them too much or affect them too much. So yeah, look, they're firmly in the hunt now for promotion back to Division 1. Yeah, look, especially after that defeat to Cork today as well, they could definitely be eyeing up promotion. Like they have Offaly in the final round, and like, judging off form at the moment, you'd expect them to beat Offaly in the final round, realistically. Who is it that they have next in 2 weeks' time? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. They've played Derry, they've played Cork, they've played Louth, they have Tyrone. Yeah, Tyrone. So the way Tyrone, even watching them last night, I know we'll get on to that game in a minute. Yeah. So, but even looking at Tyrone last night from my own perspective, I think Meath should absolutely go and beat them, to be honest with you. Tyrone are not the same team kind of as they were last year, and they're not playing their best football at the moment. I think if Meath played Tyrone tomorrow, Meath beat them 100%. So look, Meath are in the driving seat. I expect them to go up at this stage. As for Kildare, yeah, look, especially after the opening 2 rounds when they had a draw with Tyrone, beat us, and they were looking good. And even though, okay, Derry had a couple of players that were sent off or got black cards, and Kildare couldn't take full advantage of it. If you'd have said to me then that Kildare would be in this position, I wouldn't have believed you, because I thought they were looking good. And then the defeat to Cavan last weekend just seemed to have damaged a lot of confidence in them. So it's going to be a tough and a nervy final 2 games for Kildare. Like, their safety is not secured yet.
Yeah, absolutely is not secure. I mean, I think, no offense, I think Offaly are headed, but I think that second relegation spot, I think, is kind of up for grabs. Whoever wants it can take. But I definitely think, like, a great comment in by Peter about Aaron Kernan's addition to the backroom team and everything like that. And Meath have bounced back really, really well. I made the point in the preview show when I shaded it to Meath that last time we saw them get a big setback was when they lost to Louth in the Leinster final, and the way that they bounced back from that, beating Kerry in the group stage of the All-Ireland, like, they bounced back really, really well from that. And there's a bit of metal about this Robbie Brennan Meath team. We've seen another example of it here, but Louth GA fan 57 saying Louth to dash Meath's promotion again by winning their next 2 games and other results to go their way. Lol. But on top of that, we have a question in here for us. Let me drag it up. It was to ask for Dub's opinion. I think it was from Brendan. Oh, here. Brendan Kennelly saying, I'd love to get the Dub's opinion on the likes of Kildare, Meath and Louth. The reality is, I think Kildare still have a little bit to go in terms of winning a Leinster championship. I think I would understand in any order, but I think the top 3 in Leinster, with all due respect to the rest of the teams, I think the top 3 are Meath, Louth and Dublin. And you put them in whatever order you want. But I think those are the 3 teams that I think could win Leinster this year. And I think if it came outside of that 3, I'd be pretty surprised. But then again, like, it might be a case that, like, Westmeath get into the Leinster final and they play against Meath or they play against Louth or Dublin, and they're just a good stylistic matchup for them on the day. Like, it could be like a Roscommon and Connacht in 2010 where Sligo took out Mayo and Galway, and then Roscommon were just a great match for them on the day. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I would be surprised if it doesn't come from that 3. Peter saying number 1 Meath, number 2 Louth, number 3 Dublin. He says agree about the general assessment. Yeah, Division 2 just wasn't that competitive, lads. I'm going to throw another game back to you, Aaron. Usually the most competitive division, but Louth going away to Cavan and won by 122 to 112. And the thing is, we tipped this as being a very dangerous game for Louth. I tipped Cavan to win this, and I have to say, Louth have made me look a little silly predicting that now.
Yeah, like I think that bar and Tyrone Offaly, and bizarrely enough, Tyrone, I know Liam will get onto it, but Tyrone Offaly probably nearly actually gave a good go in that game, to be fair. Whereas the other 3 were a lot more maybe one-sided. And yeah, this one in particular, massive win again for Louth. I said previously, like, I think Louth, from whatever was said at half-time of that Meath game, they've turned the corner, and they're banging form now. And to get a big win over Tyrone, huge win and everything else, but now back it up versus Cavan. Because look, if they had lost this game, then they might have been dragged actually back into the relegation fight. Like, Cavan actually would have went above them on the head-to-head rule. So, and considering Cavan beat Kildare last week as well, like they were kind of up for the game and everything else. But yeah, huge win from a Louth perspective. Toig McDonald, very impressive with 3 points at wing back. I remember seeing him for the 20s a couple of years ago. I think he actually won the under-20 footballer of the year. So he's a great start having the team. They are bringing through a lot of the kind of 20s lads, like Kieran McArdle's in the side as well. And one player who is back who didn't actually feature, I don't think, last year was Kieran Downey. He scored 1-4 in a full forward. So he's a big addition to have back in the Louth ranks. And yeah, for Cavan, it definitely is a bit damning and disappointing from a Cavan perspective, because, like, even though Cavan have only had 2 points on the board, you couldn't criticise them too much. They gave everything versus Meath. They gave everything versus Cork. 2 very good sides. They lost those games. Fair enough. They came up against a good Tyrone side, lost that game. They bounced back, beat Kildare. And now a damn in the feet versus Louth. But the funny thing is, I actually still think Cavan might get out of it. I'm sorry to say, Liam, but Cavan are playing awfully, and I think Cavan might be able to win that game, whereas Kildare are on 3, and I'm not sure where the points are coming from a Kildare perspective. So I think Cavan might actually still get out of this.
I think it's Cavan or Kildare to go down in that second spot. I think that's what I'm thinking. Brendan here saying the mad thing with Cavan is they've been in 3 one-score games so far in this league campaign. With a little bit of luck, we could be talking about Cavan in a different light. What I would be, and then Loud fans saying Downey did play. You mean Connor Early returned? I don't know, Connor Early, but yeah. There's a lot of Connors and Kierans in the Loud team. I clocked that when I seen the program one time. It was Connor
maybe
Ryan,
I mixed them up.
Craig Lennon. Like, there's a lot of C's. Like, there's not many, but a lot of Connors, Craigs, and Kierans in the Loud team. And they're all class as well. Like Conor Grimes, Connor Keenan, Craig Lennon. But anyway, we'll like my thing about it is like looking at this game between Loud and Cavan. Look. When Brendan was mentioning there about how Cavan lost games very narrowly, what we were talking about on previous episodes was kind of a striking similarity to Dermot McCabe with Westmeath last season, where they were very, very competitive, lost a lot of games by 1 point and ended up going down. And we were saying it was kind of heading in that way if they didn't obviously turn the ship around. Ryan here talking about Wexford. He said in Division 3 it would be a huge achievement for Wexford to do back-to-back promotions. Massive last 2 games ahead for them. We'll get to them. Massive win over Sligo. But anyway, wrapping up, Liam, unfortunately, I have to throw this game to you as an Offaly man, but Tyrone 28 points, Offaly 2-13 in Healy Park. Tough day at the office?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, look, nothing could have been any worse than the Derry game last weekend. That was just one of the darkest days we've really had in the county, to be honest with you. But look, I'll give the lads a lot of credit. In the first half, we were on a lot of the ball. We were doing a bit better with kickouts from both sides. Yeah, look, the goal that we got from Jack McAvoy came at a crucial time in the game. We started off well. Keith O'Neill, to be fair to him again, showing that he's well capable of playing at this level. Got 2 good scores at the start. Cormac Egan looked back to himself a small bit as well. He was breaking through tackles and he was on the ball a lot. He looked a bit more confident. This game, I would say it's probably his best game he's played so far in the league. But yeah, look, other lads, did relatively well as well. Marcus Dalton at wing forward, was going about well and was linking up with play a good bit too. Jordan Hayes, 1 or 2 times maybe could have taken a shot on for a 2-pointer, but still he's a big towering figure. He's able to, take hits or take a few belts if he needs to, and he's able to drive forward with the ball as well. But just, look, second half came about look, Tyrone completely took over. Mahi Donnelly got 3 points from full forward. Like, I didn't even know he was playing in the first half, and then the second half he comes out and he just tears us a new one, to be honest with you. He was on fire. No, but like, I mean that in a nice way. Because he's a brilliant, look, he's a fantastic footballer, but like, I'm just saying that more. I felt like we did a good job on him that I didn't notice him, but
yeah,
look, in fairness to him, he turned it on in the second half. So did Canavan as well. At corner forward, he got 5 points. Darren McCurry came off the bench, got 3 points as well. So look, overall, Ronan Cassidy got 3 points as well. Overall, look, the goal at the end kind of put it. And in fairness to Darragh Flynn, I'll give him a shout. He got 1-2, and his goal at the end was a cracking one, but it was kind of damage limitations at that point. The score kind of just made it a bit more respectful from our perspective. Like, we lost the game by less than 10 points, so I'll take that as a victory from our perspective. But relegation is looking like, unless we were to catch Cavan on a bad day or we were to catch Meath on a bad day, we are going down realistically. I know there's still a chance, but I don't realistically see it happening. But look, the lads are still giving it a good go, and I do appreciate them still doing that, because it's not easy for them to keep constantly traveling to difficult grounds and then for it to fall apart like this. But look, well done to Tyrone. They deserve the win in the end. But look, another tough day at the office. But look, we're known as the faithful, and I'm going to stay faithful to them. So
Absolutely, well said. That's Division 2 wrapped up. We're going to move on to Division 3, and I'm going to split the deck and give you 2 games each to have a look at from Division 3. And there were some big results. Aaron, as you called this one, I'm going to give you one of these. So Clare beating Limerick 121 to 12 points away in McNeville Park, and Wexford also getting a huge win over Sligo, 16 points to 1-7 in Wexford Park.
Yeah, look, firstly, big win for Clare. Like, to be fair, as I was saying, like, I think they have been racking up big numbers in the last couple of games. They've been averaging around the kind of like 120 to 121 mark in the last couple of games, whereas Limerick haven't been scoring huge numbers. So yeah, big result for Clare. Like Owen Cleary with 7 points, Mark McInerney as well with 1-8. They've been 2 of the big standout performers from a Clare perspective. Yeah, big win for Wexford as well. The Division 3 has been a bit mad, and we will get onto it with Laois Westmeath. A lot of teams at home have been winning their games, but then when they go away from home, they just get hammered. And Sligo has been the perfect example of that, where they go away to Laois and they lose like very convincingly. And now they've done the same here against Wexford as well. And yeah, like Division 3 is like I think there's like 3 or 4 teams with 6 points.
Yeah, well, right now, Down are on 10, 5 wins from 5. Wexford are second currently. Clare are third, and Westmeath are fourth, all based on like score difference and head to head and whatnot. But they're all on 6 points, and Laois are then in fifth, and Laois are on 5 points, and even Sligo in sixth are on 4 points. Like Sligo could still squeeze in there. Like it's a bit nuts. Like I think Limerick are out of it. They're not going to get it, but wild stuff. Like if Fermanagh then at the bottom with 5 defeats from 5, Porter's saying Fermanagh have to beat Laois and win away to Limerick to avoid the bottom division. 15 years since they were in there, but they had a good second half against Down yesterday. If you had to pick, Aaron, who do you think's going up before we move on to Liam and the other 2 games?
Well, look, we'll go with Down. I think I might go with Clare as well. I need to see the fixtures, to be fair.
Yeah, I said Westmeath at the beginning, so I'm going to stick with them. But the result today,
I said Limerick originally, so I don't think it's going to be them.
The result against Limerick. Well, I'll stay true to my predictions. Ryan saying Wexford have Westmeath and Clare left. I mean, that's 2 tough games to wrap out your division. I think maybe they stutter in one of them games. Yeah, I'll stick with Westmeath. But speaking of, a little bit of a shudder considering this result, Liam, and these are your 2 games from Division 3. Laois beating Westmeath 3-16 to 113 in O'Moore Park, and Down beating Fermanagh 118 to 115 in Park Esler.
Yeah, I think for Down, it's just simply a case of get the result and get out, to be honest with you, because I didn't expect Fermanagh to get as close to them as they did, but credit to them, they battled to the end, a lot better than what they did against Westmeath last weekend. They didn't throw in the towel or anything like that, and I suppose they probably wouldn't, considering it's an Ulster side they're going up against. They might want to try and prove a point of some degree, but no, look, Down, they're moving along very nicely. Patrick Havern getting 7 points in this game, so he was the main threat for them. Oran Murdoch getting a goal and 2 points as well. I'm expecting big things from him this season once again. Adam Crimmins getting 4 points also from play. So yeah, look, a good positive result from them. They'll take it and they'll move on. 5 wins from 5. Their promotion is, I'd say, pretty much secured at this point. This result has kind of shocked me. Like Laois had that win against Sligo was big, and they were very unlucky not to beat Clare last weekend. They probably should have seen that game out away in Ennis, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I thought Westmeath would win this game, just simply because I think Mark McHugh's doing a good job with them, and they have a lot of they do have a lot of really good footballers in their team. I mean, Luke Loughlin, just to name one, which, by the way, his interview with Tommy Tiernan as well last night. I haven't seen the full thing, but I've seen bits of it. It was absolutely excellent, and his story is very interesting as well. But like, you had him who got 1-6. You had Kevin O'Sullivan who got 3 points. Like, they have some really good players, but Kennellan's red card, I know it was towards the end of the game, but that didn't help their matters whatsoever. But Laois were just on a completely different level. And the dog's agreeing with me. But no, look, it's a brilliant win for Laois, though. To beat a Midlands rival is crucial for them. Ronan Coffey, who I've spoken to numerous times on Midlands 103, finishing with 1-1. Evan O'Carroll, who I rate very highly as well, getting a goal and 3 points. And yeah, look, for a side that were one of the favourites to go down, for them now to be on 5 points after, was it 4 or 5 games, is unbelievable feat for them. And if they can somehow drag themselves into the talk for potential promotion, I mean, you know, we could be looking at a potential, I would say, shock if Laois were to go up to Division 2. It'd be a bit like us going up last year, to be honest with you, because we were nearly one of the favourites to go down last year after the way 2024 went, and then we went and got promoted. So Laois could do the exact same thing this year. But I did say Westmeath at the start, so I feel like I might still stick with them. But if I was to choose anyone else, I'd actually go with Wexford. I don't know why.
Wexford have had an absolutely great season. Connor here saying, do any of you lads think we'll play a strong team against Sligo, considering Down are already promoted? I think so. I think it's good to keep in the winning form and everything like that. That's been talked about by a lot of players over the league campaign, that you want to keep the winning habit. That dog is a Westmeath supporter. We actually got the dogs from Wexford, so I don't know if it's supporting Westmeath or shouting against them, but yeah, that's where we got the two dogs. But anyway, I'll take Division 4. I'll take this one because it's one of the predictions I'm a little bit proud of, lads. I can't lie when I seen it happen. I predicted both promotion campaigns to be derailed this weekend, Wicklow and Carlow, and both of them lost. Antrim beat Wicklow by 218 to 114 in Roger Casements. In this game, it was, of course, Ross McQuillan and Pat Shivers both hit 1-2 each. I'm delighted with the prediction on that one, but I just, like, it was kind of confusing for me how Antrim were so off the pace up until finally they started to pick up points. But then in the other game, we talked about the curse. If you are winning, do not go on a GAA show to talk about how great things are going mid-season, because Robbie Brennan went on, and the next game, Meath lost. And the Carlow manager went on when Carlow were 4 from 4, and they lost their very next game to Longford, 119 to 114 in Pearse Park. Oren Kenny and Matthew Carey combined for 10 points, while James Moran hit the back of the net for Longford as they continued their rise from the ashes as well. While in this game, Tipperary 118 to 8 points in Clonmel. It was Stephen O'Brien and Sean O'Connor who hit 112 between them as the Premier men got out with the win, while London beat Waterford in Ruislip 316 to 212. Jim Davis with 1-4, Kieran Diver with 1-3, and Michael O'Reilly also hit the back of the net for London in that game. So that's round 5 wrapped up in Division 4. And now we're going to move over to the hurling, and we have, again, plenty to talk about. It's unfortunate Matthew isn't on for this because I watched this game. I caught especially the second half. The first half I was doing some house jobs and everything like that, but the second half I got to sit down and watch it, and especially the last 10 minutes were frantic. But Cork keep up their 100% record in Division 1. Cork 312, Kilkenny 115. The Rebels maintain their 100% record. They win out in a battle in Nolan Park against Kilkenny. Cork are moving in the right direction, Liam.
Yeah, and unfortunately, from Matthew's perspective, the hype train is not going to be going down anytime soon with these types of results, especially going away to Kilkenny and picking up a huge victory. Look, I caught the second half of this game as well because I was in a Tullamore, which we'll get onto in a minute. But judging by what I was getting from my friend who's actually from Kilkenny, he was saying that he's sort of worried for Kilkenny this season, that he's saying if there is a year that Kilkenny don't win the Leinster Championship, it's this year. And he referenced to me how much of a big loss Hugh Lawler is. And I think we're seeing it very evidently here at the moment. Like Cork started like an absolute house on fire with the goal from Brian Hayes. And he took it so well as well. Brian Hayes is making a habit of getting these types of goals, like batting the ball in or whatever. He's doing it really, really well. But yeah, look, Cork were just the better side overall in the first half. They led by 6 at halftime. And then come the second half, the second goal and the third goal both came at crucial moments. And I mean, you got to give great credit for the third goal. I mean, was Barry Walsh on the pitch? What 30 or not Barry Walsh. Yeah. Sorry, Alan Walsh. He was on the pitch 30 seconds, and he got his goal. And like it was just such like talk about impact sub when you need him most. Like just absolutely terrific from him, and especially when Kilkenny were sort of getting a foothold back in the game. Like if there was anybody that was going to score a goal for Kilkenny, it was going to be Owen Cody. Realistically, they're relying heavily on him at the moment. Good for them to get John Donnelly back. I think he's a great addition back into the panel at the moment. And look, they still have TJ to add, Adrian Mullen to add, etc. But for Cork, some good performers today. Alan Connolly finished with 7 points. Brian Hayes got 1-1. William Buckley is really impressing me at the moment as well. To keep Darragh Fitzgibbon only to 1 point from play is very good going, considering how much of an impressive start he's made to the league campaign as well. And Barry Walsh, I'll get him right this time. Barry, there's too many Walshes as well in Cork. Barry Walsh getting a goal as well will boost his confidence massively as well. But yeah, look, I'd say for Ben O'Connor to have picked up wins, and especially like this one as well, where they sort of did have to dog it out, he'll be absolutely delighted with it. And yeah, I'd say Cork now are looking very likely. Look, they do have Offaly in the final game. They should realistically win that game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, even if they were to lose. I think, isn't it Offaly? Offaly's their last game. Do they have a game next weekend, or do they? Or
have they had the bye yet?
That's what I'm trying to think. They had the bye.
Hasn't had the bye.
No, they're playing Limerick next weekend. Sorry.
Okay.
But I think even if they were to lose that, I think they've sort of booked their place in the league final already. But Kilkenny as well. It'd be interesting to see who's going down with Offaly, because you now have Waterford, Kilkenny, and Galway sort of and to a degree Tipperary sort of staring over their shoulders, sort of worried at the moment.
Well, all 4 of them are level on 4 points.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so could be an interesting final couple of weeks, I have to say.
Yeah, to see who's going down to Division 1B. Only time will tell. Aaron, when you're talking about this game, I mean, Liam sums it up really, really well. As if Cork didn't need more attacking talent. I mean, Barry Walsh looked absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, no, as if Cork were stuck for attackers. Barry Walsh in his first start looked unbelievable. And then Alan Walsh, 30 seconds in off the bench, outstanding catching, buries it to the back of the net. I mean, the squad depth that they have is ridiculous, to the point where, like, Ben O'Connor literally said, like, there's lads that weren't in the match day 26 that will be driving the standards of training. They're in a really, really good place, this Cork team.
They absolutely are, yeah. Like, and that's the thing. I mean, like, that's been the thing for the last couple of years. It's been, there's no shortage of talent within Cork. It's how can you just put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And you do have a lot of players coming in now. But to be fair, yeah, 2 lads who got their opportunity. Barry Walsh, as you said, took his goal well. Same with Alan Walsh as well. And yeah, massive win from a Cork perspective. Like, it is interesting, like, with their approach to the league. They're going hammer and tongs. They're coming out fast out of the blocks in a lot of these games, getting early goals. And realistically, like, from what I've seen of this game, like, it was fairly comfortable really from Cork. Like, they never really ever looked like losing the game. Maybe Kilkenny made a bit of a fist of it towards the end of the match, and I thought Cian Kenny, to be fair, was impressive. He scored 8 points overall, but yeah, it's another massive win from a Cork perspective. And as we were saying with Matthew, like, the hype train around Cork is not going to go down anytime soon. It's absolutely going to build up and up and up into the championship, to be fair. But look, winning breeds confidence, and for Cork last year, in my opinion, it wasn't the hype that derailed them, in that final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't, there was hype in the semi-final, there was hype in other games, and it didn't derail them then. So yeah.
It's going to be one of the great all-time mysteries, isn't it? Like, that second half in that All-Ireland final. I've never seen a weirder second half in my life. Brendan here saying, will Cork be able to manage the expectations? Like, it is interesting when you're looking at it. Like, I think getting that first All-Ireland would be so important. And I worry what happens if they get that first All-Ireland, because all of a sudden then the shackles are thrown off. That pressure to get one, you'd be a bit like, okay, we've got one, regardless of what happens. And then maybe they do nothing after that. Who knows? But they could go on. I think there's enough talent in this Cork team. There's enough strength and depth to get a couple of All-Irelands out of this crop at least, because I think Tip also have the talent. I think Clare have the talent. I think Limerick have the talent. But it's just a question of, like, which crop is going to prove to be the best over the next few years. And the Munster Championship is just going to be something else this year. And I think Ben is the perfect appointment, especially when Pat Ryan left. I think he's absolutely proven to be the right man so far anyway. And it is interesting that their approach is to go for everything. Aaron, I'm going to bat it right back to you for this clash. Galway-Waterford, we talked about how important this one could be. And when we're talking about who could go down along with Offaly, Galway have pushed Waterford right into the mix as well by tying with them after winning this game. 218 to 16 points in Pearse Stadium. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, massive win in the end for Galway to get over the line, to get the victory, as we were saying previously. Going into this year, as you were saying, like I think if Galway had have lost this game, massive trouble in terms of relegation and everything else. Obviously, with 4 teams all on 4 points, so yeah, huge for Galway to step up. Cathal Mannion excellent with 9 points. I thought Ronan Glennon at wing back was brilliant as well, getting a goal. Aaron Ireland continuing on his brilliance from this season. In fairness, like for Waterford, I thought they started well. They got a couple of early points from the likes of Michael Cúilín and Jack Prendergast. But to be fair, the more the game went on, the more Galway settled into it. And I think they had that mad spell in the first half where they scored maybe 1-6 or 1-7 without reply. And that kind of really took the game away from Waterford, to be fair. And yeah, massive result for the Tribesmen.
Absolutely. So, and that just by that means that the 4 of them are on 4 points. Just for the record, Galway, Tipperary, Kilkenny and Waterford, all from their 4 games, have 2 wins and 2 defeats. Currently, Galway are top with 12, plus 12 as their score difference. Tipperary, second out of that group with plus 1 score difference. Kilkenny -5 and Galway -13. Although it is important to say Waterford have actually played 5 games. They've won 2 and they've lost 3. So they are in the worst position out of that 4 and could be relegated down to Division 1B as things currently stand. But obviously they still have more game to go. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next clash, and that is the clash of Offaly against Limerick. Now, Liam, we were talking about this. It wasn't as bad as maybe we thought it would be with the form that Limerick are in. Yeah. 17 points to 219. Were you at this one, or am I mixing up with the football?
No, I was at it. Yeah.
You were there. What was it like?
Yeah, no, I was meant to be at the football. Just family stuff happened and I couldn't get to it. But I was at this one today. Yeah, look, considering I saw the Limerick team that was announced during the week, and I can't lie, I'd be lying if I wasn't sitting here going, "Oh no, this could be a very long 70 minutes." And we still do have a lot of players that are out injured at the moment, which doesn't help us. But listen, I got to give our lads some amount of credit. I mean, this is a team that have won 4 All-Irelands this decade. Recently, we're on the cusp of winning 7 Munster titles in a row and have the greatest players of all time in amongst their team and have future greats in their team. Cathal O'Neill's, Adam English, Colin Coughlin's, these types of fellas. And our lads stood up, and even with, say, some of the size differences between, say, their players and ours, our lads weren't afraid to get stuck in today, which I was really happy with. I was like, listen, if you're going to lose, go down fighting. And they absolutely did. Now, look, I will say one thing. I wasn't impressed with the referee in Tyrone Offaly. I felt he was a bit against us at times, especially with Jack McAvoy's black card, which I probably should have mentioned as well. But today, I think Liam Gordon was probably on our side, to be honest with you. We got a few soft frees, especially towards the end of the game, which, look, you take them. But I think if you're watching from a neutral's perspective, half the time, there was one stage, I believe, I think it might have been Cathal O'Neill who flicked the ball out of Oisín Kelly's hand, and he did it so nicely. And it was given in as a free in. And I was like, that's just not a free in. That's a skill, robbing the ball out of someone's hand by flicking the hurl. Do you know what I mean? But look, it was it took Limerick a long time to get settled into the game. They were hitting a lot of poor wides, which they wouldn't on another day. Well, look, if we can go on and do what Limerick have done, then I'd be absolutely delighted. Never mind if we could win 1 Leinster, never mind winning 4 All-Irelands. But no, look, there were some certain players. I think one thing that's a positive from this campaign is I think a good chunk of our spine of our team is kind of sorted now. You've Liam Hoare in goals. Ben Keneally kept Aaron Gillan to just 1 point from play today. He was absolutely magnificent. Killian Sampson, having him back at centre-back, he's so crucial, to be honest with you. Carl King was out injured today, which was a shame. He might be back for the Cork game, but if he's not, he's not. I'd rather have him back for the championship, to be honest with you. Turgainen has settled in really well to this team. He got 2 points from play. Adam Screeney, it wasn't really a game for him, but I still think he did relatively well. He got a good point from play at the start. Got the large majority of our scores from placed balls as well. I thought Luke Nolan in the second half of corner forward did relatively well too. But just overall, look, a tough result to take, and obviously it does confirm relegation now back to Division 1B. But look, let's face it, nobody at the start of the league campaign, even myself, said that we'd stay up. It was about competing and showing that we can compete at this level with these types of teams. And other than the Tipperary game, which even then we were 5 points down at half time, other than that game, we've not been trounced in any game or hockeyed in any game, or I think we've come out of it with a lot of credibility, to be honest with you. The Galway game, could have gone either, like it could have gone either way to a degree. Do you know, like we weren't exactly brilliant, but Galway weren't majestic either. Do you know what I mean? Lost to Kilkenny by 4 points, lost to Waterford by 6. Like I said, we were down by 5 at halftime to Tipperary, but they brought on the big guns in the second half, and we just ran out of legs. And again today, look, I'm proud of these lads, and I'm proud of what they're doing at the moment. And I think it's building nicely towards Division 1B. And I think we give Division 1B a good rattle next year. I think we'll be right in for a shout of getting promoted right back, to be honest, especially if you can get the likes of Charlie Mitchell back fit, keep Adam Screeney fit, keep Killian Sampson fit, keep these lads fit for the entirety of the season. I think we should be okay. But look, Limerick, it's a job well done. Shane O'Brien, again, getting a nice goal. Cathal O'Neill getting a goal as well. Kyle Hayes is back, and he's played a couple of games for them now. So, look, they weren't firing on all cylinders today, but they didn't have to. They won the game, and they'll move on to Cork next weekend.
Yeah, no, well said. I do agree. I think you'll bounce back from Division 1B, though. Like the way that it's looking, I would back you to get straight back out. And we will move to Division 1B's games. I'm going to put these together with an eye on the clock. And because of the fact as well that the 3 games were relatively comprehensive victories. So starting off, Aaron, Dublin 131, Antrim 116 in Corrigan Park. Kildare got a very impressive win in McKenna Park in Ballycran, beating down by 324 to 123. And Clare went away to Carlow in Cullen Park and won by 128 to 18 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, from a Dublin perspective, first of all, obviously this game wasn't on TV and was actually on the same time the footballers were on. Which, yeah, I understand. To be fair, it's very hard with games, and I know it happens with other counties as well. But I think, yeah, when you're having 2 games on from same calls at the same time, it is a little bit annoying. But yeah, good win in the end from a Dublin perspective. I think we started very strong. I think we were 10 points to 1 up in the opening 15 minutes. And that was huge because, look, Antrim, after getting the win versus Carlow, they had their tails up. They were ready. Obviously, Dublin, these are the type of games in the past we've saw Dublin lose. Especially, we put in a big performance against a Wexford or Kilkenny or something like that. And then I mentioned Wexford there, so maybe that's why the dog is barking there. But yeah, no, look, we got the victory, we got the big win, and yeah, we march on into we obviously keep alive our hopes of promotion, and yeah, big wins for Kildare and Carlow as well. Kildare and Clare, sorry, you probably expected the Clare win, in fairness, going away to Carlow, and then yeah, big result from a Kildare perspective as well.
Liam, you take the wheel. No, wait, actually, I'll run through the games. I think the barking may stop. No, it won't. Liam, will you give your thoughts on 1B and I'll deal with this?
Oh, God. Yeah, look, from a Laois Westmeath perspective, yeah, it's been a very successful weekend for Laois, and I can imagine Westmeath will not want to be looking at them for a little while, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think this win all but confirms Laois's promotion. Their last 2 games sort of favoured them as well to a degree. And yeah, look, I think if they won today, then promotion is pretty much theirs, back up to Division 1B. And things it wasn't looking fully like it was going to be going their way. They were down 10-9 at halftime, but they rallied in the second half. They got 114 in the second half. Tomas Keys, Mossy Keys, as he's normally known as, I've been very impressed with him over the last couple of years. He got a goal in 12 points, 1-6, I believe, from play. He's a top class player. I was very impressed. He got a hat trick in the Laois Hurling final for Camross in 2023, and that's kind of where I first heard about him, and been very impressed with him ever since. James Keys got 4 points as well. So overall, a great day for Laois. For Westmeath, I wouldn't worry too much about this result. They are a team very much in transition. I think Kevin O'Brien is going to do. I think Westmeath are still going to do a good job over the next year or two. They've lost a lot of players this year, so Kevin O'Brien is kind of having to bed in a lot of new faces as well. But I wouldn't worry about this result too much. I think they're still very much in the promotion charge from that perspective. But yeah, Laois, I think, have very much confirmed their promotion back. Yeah, no, look, it's a positive result from their perspective. For London to beat Derry, brilliant victory, absolutely and amazing how they can only score 3-7 and still win the game. But no, it's a fantastic victory for them. I believe this victory takes them above Derry in the table, which is very, very crucial for them in terms of trying to avoid relegation. Derry must be sick of the sight of London, to be honest with you, after last year and now this year as well. But a great victory from their their perspective there. And for Meath to get the victory away to Mayo, very positive from them as well. 5-point victory in the end. You had Mikey Cole, who got 3 points. Tom Shine top scored with 8 points, 5 from free. So overall positive result from Meath as well. For Mayo, tough result for them to take, and especially when they were so close, but it's looking likely that relegation is probably on the cards for them at the moment. But I think they'll take a lot from competing against the likes of Laois and Westmeads and Kerrys and all these teams this year. So, but overall, a decent enough weekend.
Absolutely. So, moving on then, I'm just going to give a shout out to the results from round 5 in Division 3 and Division 4. So, Roscommon and Tyrone drew at Dr. Hyde Park by 116 to 19 points. Donegal beat Louth in their own backyard, 320 to 110. And Wicklow hammered Fermanagh 514 to 7 points in Ockram. While in Division 4's round 5, Longford beat Lancashire 318 to 12 points in Abbottstown. Leitrim beat Cavan 20 points to 17 in Port Sean McDermott, and Warwickshire beat Monaghan by 311 to 13 points in Park Naharan. And that is the recap on the hurling action, and we're going to move straight in to the Camogie action. There was only one game in Division 1A in round 3 from the Camogie, and this one was not played last week with the other 2 games, but it was played this weekend instead, and it was a clash of Galway and Waterford. And Waterford got a very, very impressive win in Kilbecanty by 12 points to a goal and 5. Waterford have made a brilliant start to their Camogie League campaign. First they beat Cork, and now they've beaten Galway. The last 2 All-Ireland champions beaten in the opening 2 rounds by the Déise. It's not a bad start, is it, Liam?
No, and I feel bad now for predicting Galway to win this game. I feel like I put a curse on them at this point. But no, look, a brilliant win for Waterford. You got to give them great credit for that. Niamh Rocket getting 7 points, all coming from place balls. But I suppose at this time of the year, you need your free taker to be absolutely on point, don't you? Bet Carton finished with 2 points as well. And to only hold Galway to a goal and 5 points as well, especially with the players that they had out there. I mean, remarkably, Aoife Donoghue and Niamh Nyland didn't score in this game. Like, that's really, really impressive going, especially going forward for the rest of the season. Carrie Dolan only scored 1 point as well. To keep those types of players to just 1 point from play over the course of 60 minutes is really impressive going. And this will make a few people sort of stand up and take a lot more notice about Waterford. I think it's definitely possible for Waterford to potentially maybe this year go and do a double. It's like they're probably one of the most likely counties in Camogie and LGFA to do this, to be honest with you. Now, look, it could all come crashing down in a few weeks' time or when the championship comes around. But for the moment, Waterford, in both the ladies' football and the Camogie, it's in a really positive place. Niamh Mallon, to be fair, got 1-4 for Galway. She was the top scorer for them. But
Must
and
be
look,
mentioned that Galway were trapped in New York due to a snowstorm leading up to the match. So
yeah,
I mean, that's important too.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's not it's not an ideal situation for them, and it's unfortunate for their perspective that happened. But at least they got back to play the game in the end as well. But look, Waterford will just say, don't care, no excuses. They won the game, and they'll happily take it into the next round. But yeah, very impressive start from them to beat Cork and Galway so far. Things are looking nice for them.
When you're talking about that glass ceiling, Aaron, I mean, like, over the last few years, it's been Cork, Galway and Kilkenny that have won the All-Ireland, and constantly we've looked at Waterford and Tipperary as being the 2 that maybe can break that mold. Do you think they're progressing towards it this year?
I think they're definitely in with a chance. They're definitely in the conversation. Especially having gotten to the final a couple of years ago, and I know it was a heavy defeat versus Cork on that particular occasion, but they have the experience, obviously, of getting to a final. They have a bit of a taste for it, and they are progressing very, very nicely, as we were saying. And with players like Niamh Rocket, Beck Carton, Lorraine Bray, then I think they have a serious chance from a Waterford perspective. So yeah, no, I think they are motoring along very, very nicely. They're definitely, and to be fair, I think Camogie kind of needs it. I think having the same kind of contenders every season, it's the same with any sport. You need new contenders to come along. And to be fair to Waterford, they've started very, very strongly. And I do agree with Liam's point as well. I think it'd be great for Waterford if they could go and maybe win the Camogie League, maybe win the ladies' football as well. I think it'd be great progression for Waterford, LGFA.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's the neighbour's dog is going nuts, and then my dog is responding to it right outside. So I'm having to be ultra professional here, but it'll prepare me for the future. Hopefully, I don't know. But Anyway, we'll keep it going, and I'm going to read out as well. Big shout out to Matthew as well for providing the recap on what went on across the weekend on the Gaelic Statsman Instagram page, and then collabing with the Cúilín Media Instagram page. If you don't follow, go and give it a follow now. We would really, really appreciate it. But Division 1B as well, round 3, Dublin beat Wexford away in Buncloddy 2-9 to 10 points. Kerry Finnegan and Aisling Gannon hit the back of the net, while Claire Gannon was also brilliant in this game. Then Clare beat Limerick 3-8 to 2-8 in Cappamore. Lorna McNamara hit the back of the net twice for the Banner County in that victory, while Offaly also beat down by 3-12 to 10 points in St. Brendan's Park. A first win of the year for the Offaly Camogie team. Clodagh Lahey hit 1-9 and Rachel Brennan scored a goal and a point in that one as well. And then looking at the results in Division 2A, Derry beat Westmeath by 12 points to 10. Kerry beat Carlow 112 to 19, and Meath beat Laois 216 to a goal and 8. While in Division 3A, Tyrone 4-6, Roscommon 14 points. Armagh 210, Kildare 1-6. And then in Division 3B's round 3, Monaghan beat Louth 4-11 to 1-4, while Mayo beat Donegal 6 goals and 8 points to 2 goals and 3 points. And that is the Camogie action wrapped up, and we're going to move swiftly along now to the LGFA. Round 5 of the little LGFA leagues, and this one basically served as a league semi-final. Cork versus Waterford, 112 to 3-5 in Páirc Uí Rinn. Cork continue their superb league campaign. I think it's fair to say, Aaron, at the start of the campaign, we wouldn't have expected this from Cork. Cork have had a fantastic league campaign in the LGFA this year. They've looked absolutely brilliant. Big wins over the likes of Kerry, and now beating Waterford in Páirc Uí Rinn, and Waterford were flying it before this game. Now they're pretty much nailed on to get to the league final. It's been a brilliant start for the Rebels.
It absolutely has, yeah. I think like the majority of us, including Matthew, I think all had Cork down as a team to get relegated. So yeah, I think to kind of turn around and get this victory, I think was absolutely huge from a Cork perspective. Aoife Healy getting the all important goal, and absolutely like 4 wins from 5 games, it puts them in a massive chance at getting to the league final, you'd have to say. And like overall, it's been very, very good. Look, for Waterford, disappointed, obviously back-to-back defeats. Little bit of a setback in regards to that, but look, from a Waterford perspective, they are making strides. They are making progress, to be fair. And look, there's still an outside chance. Like, they've 9 points on the board from 5 games, still in with a slight chance of potentially getting into a league final. But yeah, massive win for Cork.
You would be afraid, wouldn't you, Liam, given how successful Cork have been in the history of the LGFA, that like all of a sudden now they're creeping up with a new team. It's like it's got overarching similarities to the team of the 2000s.
Well, I'm glad you haven't said you'd be afraid when Matthew's on the podcast. He might be saying to you, what do you mean afraid? But no, I get what you mean. Yeah. No, look, and it's very impressive from Cork. Like, I did not expect this at the start of the league campaign. Like, I mean, the Kerry result was probably one that really stood out, going away to them. Now Kerry's home record has not exactly been brilliant this year, to be fair to them, but to go away to them and beat them by double scores was impressive enough. But to then follow that up with the victory last night, to have 4 wins and a draw is really impressive going from them. And ironically, it wasn't a draw against against Armagh in the league campaign.
The draw was against Kildare, sorry. Against Kildare. Sorry. Yeah,
no. But to get the draw against them, like extremely ironic, to be honest with you, considering the teams that they have beaten so far. But no, look, Cork are coming along nicely at the moment, and look, I don't see them winning an All-Ireland this year. Just I think teams will improve as the year goes on, and they'll gradually get better. But it's massive progress from them. And look, like Aaron said, I wouldn't be sounding the alarm bells just yet from a Waterford perspective. I still think they're a really solid team. I still think they're a really good team, and I think they're going to have a really good season. Look, if you're going to lose games, pick the last 2 right now and try and move on from here. Look, they still have some tricky games to come, but I still think they're a very good side and they're moving along very, very nicely. And especially with the players that they have in their team, I think they should be okay going forward. But yeah, cracking game and a great weekend really for Cork, to be honest, bar the Derry results. But yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to bat this one right back to you because Kildare got a lifeline in this one. Alana Prizeman hit 1-1. Maya Doyle, Gillian Wheeler and Aoife Mernan also hit the net for the Lily Whites as they beat Meath 4-8 to a goal and 10 in Mangard. And when we're talking about defibrillators and everything like that to jumpstart their potential survival campaign, beating one of their biggest rivals like this is a hell of a way to do it. And now, like, if I get the table up, like, I know that Dublin obviously got the win over them last weekend and everything like that has to be factored in. But right now, when you look at the table, Kildare are on 4 points, Armagh on 4 points, and Dublin are on 4 points as well. So it sure as hell ain't over yet.
Absolutely not. I suppose Kildare women showing the Kildare men how to beat Meath and how to beat them convincingly enough. Anyways, maybe they could take a couple of lessons from that. But no, look, impressive from Kildare. From Meath, that'd be a slightly worrying result from their perspective. I mean, it's another game where they've conceded 4 goals. They conceded 4 goals against Kerry as well. I know they had the very impressive win against Waterford and very impressive win against Dublin, but they're still probably just not the strongest that Meath possibly can be right now. And yeah, look, that would be a very damaging result from their perspective. But like you said, it boosts Kildare's perspective of staying in the division. Like, who would have thought at the start of the campaign that like Dublin would be bottom? You know, like it just wouldn't have made sense to me, to be honest with you. But yeah, look, the league has certainly thrown up its fair share of surprises at the moment. And if Kildare could manage to stay in this division, it'd be absolutely massive for them. But for Meath, look, they might not get relegated just judging by the table at the moment and maybe 1 or 2 head-to-heads, but they're not exactly safe yet either at the moment, which just makes for a very interesting end to the campaign. And just while I'm here as well, I meant to mention for the Offaly down game, I want to give massive credit and respect to Clodagh Lahey because she buried her grandfather last week and still went out yesterday, played her match, and she played absolutely excellently. And John Lahey was doing commentary for us for Milan's 103 today and, did a fantastic job as well. So just condolences to that family and well done to Clodagh yesterday for her performance more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Another massive game, Aaron. We went away to Armagh in the Athletic Grounds and this one finished a draw, 2 goals and 11 points each. We were mentioning in the build-up that we've kind of got Armagh at a bad time because big players are starting to return to the fold and Armagh were noticeably better, but a very competitive and even and hard-fought draw here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think Dublin started the better with the early goal from Orla Nolan, who in particular was absolutely sensational. She scored 2-8 overall. But Armagh, to be fair, probably looked like they had us at arm's length. We were scoring a lot of frees, probably to kind of keep ourselves in it. And yes, we were kind of saying like with some big players that Armagh do have, in particular in Kelly Mallon, who finished the game with 2-4. It was looking like it was going to be a tough game from a Dublin perspective, and maybe relegation was very much looming. But up step Orla Nolan right at the death as well on the buzzer to level the game and get ourselves the draw, which look keeps us alive in terms of relegation. I think a defeat would have been damning because it would have put Armagh up to 6 points and would have kept ourselves on 3. So the chances of us catching Armagh would have been basically next to nothing. So keeps ourselves alive, gives ourselves a chance. And yeah, highly entertaining game there by the sounds of it.
Absolutely so. And I think the key thing as well to take into account with the LGFA division compared to the men's division is they give 3 points for the win. So it's big consequences if you get a draw in a game that you should win. You drop 2 points. And that's why, like, when Kildare beat Meath, like their their survival chances increase fourfold compared to, say when, like, if Armagh were to have beaten or Dublin beating Roscommon, for example, getting 2 points, it's not as heavy an impact as getting 3 points on the board. Misha May Fain here says, lads, fair play, cover everything, great channel, thanks a million, my friend, and great to have you on the show with us. And keep the comments coming in, guys, because you absolutely love it when you get involved. Liam, the final game in Division 1 Round 5 then saw Galway go away to Kerry in a repeat of the 2024 All-Ireland final, and they beat them 1-11 to a goal and 4. Leanne Cohn continues to excel in the league campaign. She hit the back of the net for Galway and got a point as well. Kate Slevin with 3 points and Andrea Trill also with 2 with the key scorers. Very, very impressive win for Galway here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the Galway's main players are stepping up massively at the moment. Andrea Trill is certainly a player that I think is going to have a massive season for Galway. She had a huge weekend last weekend and she has another one this weekend. Leanne Cohen is just a terrific forward at the end of the day. I'm not going to be saying anything for poor Roisin Leonard at this stage, because I feel like if I say she'll get a hat trick or something, he'll come back and bite me again.
I didn't say it. I'm sure,
I
would be delighted if that happened.
Just for ye, I'll say it when she's playing Dublin maybe later on this summer. No, Roisin, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But no, look, a brilliant win for Galway. But like I mentioned, this will be a worry for Kerry, just more so their home record has been shocking in the league. Do you know, and that's not something I expected. Like, I mean, you could probably excuse maybe losing to Waterford on the opening day. Like, that was on, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that was on a bank holiday Monday. The weather wasn't great.
Yeah, that was round 2. So
yeah.
They beat Dublin away round 1, and then yeah, you're right. Like, they seem to be better on the road this year.
They're much better on the road. They're like Tottenham in football. I was saying that they lost to Fulham, and I hope they get relegated. I'm an Arsenal fan at the end of the day, but yeah, they're much better away from home than they are at home. They're and even their score lines. I mean, they got 8 points against Cork, 1-9 today against Galway. Not this type of score line you'd be expecting from a team that then went and got 2 goals away to Dublin, 4 goals away to Meath. It's a small bit worrying from their perspective at the moment. Like, look, do I think they'll go down? I don't think. I find it hard to picture Kerry getting relegated in men's or ladies football. Hurling, nobody. I could picture it, or Camogie, I could picture it. Just with football, whatever, just for some reason, I just can't. It's like seeing Kilkenny get relegated in hurling. I just can't picture it until you see it. But
well, they had the most All-Irelands in both.
That's what I mean. Like, I can't picture it. But look, they're not exactly helping themselves at the moment. But look, it'll be an interesting end to the campaign for Kerry. But I mean, they're going to want to fix their home form, because, like, look, it's just simply not good enough from their perspective, and they'll know that themselves. But for Galway, great win. They're moving along very nicely. Can't be complaining. 12 points after their opening 5 games. They'd have certainly taken out the start of the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and they continue to move in the right direction. Galway, for me, are one of my favourites for the All-Ireland right from the outset. And then just running through the rest of it. So Division 2's round 5 starting off. Donegal beating Mayo away from home in Amenity Park. That means that Donegal and Cavan are now in pole position for promotion out of Division 2. Cavan also beat Monaghan by 2-9 to 1-9 in Killinkere. This was a huge win. Ella Sheridan absolutely leading the way with 1-6, while Niamh Keenahan also hit the back of the net for Cavan. And then Wexford went down to Tyrone in St. Patrick's Park. Tyrone 4-9, Wexford 3-8. The big goals coming from Niamh O'Neill, Saoirse Gormley, Cara McNamee and Emer McCanny all struck the back of the net for Tyrone. And then in the final game saw Tipperary go away to St. Lomans and beat Westmeath by 3 goals and 8 points to 8 points. And with that result, it means that Tipperary actually leapfrog Westmeath in the table. And the other results then, the Division 3's round 5, it saw Fermanagh beat down by 110 to 2-6. Clare beat Limerick by 112 to 1-8. Louth beat Antrim by 15 points to 5. And Roscommon beat Laois by 4-4 to 12 points. A mental scoreline there. And then Division 4's round 6 saw Sligo beat Offaly 2-9 to 1-7. Leitrim beat Derry by the minimum 2-12 to 3-8. Carlow beat Longford by 4-13 to 3 points, while Wicklow hammered Kilkenny 127 to no score. And that is the recap of everything that took place in the GAA world across this weekend. Thanks to Liam and to Aaron for jumping on with me for another show. Thanks to my dogs for continually barking throughout the show. And thanks to everyone that got involved in the live chat. You helped to make that episode another really, really enjoyable one. We will be back on Thursday night at 8 p.m. for another weekend preview show. And we'll be previewing all of next weekend's games as well. So make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, follow Cúilín Media across all our socials to keep up with our content. And we will see you all Thursday night at 8 p.m. But until then, Tora.
Instinct, baby.